How do you explain, what is your doctrine on the origin of the Caucasian race?
Well, the Caucasian race came about, they're called white people, and they were white people. It was made that. Caucasian is a name given to the quality of the man, means originally bone and stale face. The person have a stale color, and his bones are weak, and the color Caucasian. But actually, he was made white. This was brought about, we would consider just recently. To talking into billions and trillions of years, the Caucasian race thereafter is just here of today almost. That took place 6,000 years ago.
And a guest, and maybe he could help me to convey a message to you. He's my friend. I like him a lot, and I'm going to tell you why I brought him in and why I think he's important to the future of you learning about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And his name is Yosef bin Asiel Israel. Salam alaikum.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom righteous and holy praise is forever due, we thank that great God for his coming to the wilderness of North America to raise up amongst us the first begotten from the dead, that special soul. I speak none other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. In those holy and righteous names, I greet you in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. We'll be right back after these quick commercials. Looking for something that feels good, looks great, and stands the test of time? Well, we have it for you. Black Royalty is our athleisure line that is made from the finest bamboo and cotton blend. We have designed high quality tracksuit and t-shirts in multiple colors that provide you the most comfort when you need it most. Whether you're in the gym or running errands or just lounging around with loved ones, you need to be in the best quality clothing as possible. We have constructed a high quality clothing line that does not break the bank, and we beat out all of our competitors on price. So please, if you're interested in being comfortable, not just in the gym, but when you're running around and doing errands, please visit blackroyaltywear.com. Also, you can find us on Instagram at Black Royalty. And if you have any questions or comments about our brand and how you can help participate, you can find us at blackroyaltywear@gmail.com. We'll be quick to answer your questions, and with our responses, we will be very thorough. So also, like I said, Black Royalty is for you because it was made by you with the intentions of serving you. So leave all those other clothing lines behind and get on what makes sense, something that's going to stand the test of time, because black don't crack. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome again to another installment of Know Thyself Radio Show, where we make it our business, our duty, our responsibility to give you nothing but the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to solve the problem of the black man and women in this day and time. And as always, it's a pleasure to be a bearer of truth, to bear witness to the greatness of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And if I can say humbly myself, to be a student, a follower of that great man, to come on here and to articulate to the best of my ability how he has impacted my life and how through his teachings can not just impact yours, but change it for the better. And as always, it's a blessing to come and have the ability to do that. But every so often, you get a blessing on top of a blessing. And for me, I must humbly say, I have the opportunity, I have the advantage to know this man personally, to be one who has been under the leadership of him, his brother, and his spiritual brother for the last 4 years. And leadership, because the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the leader, but you gotta have leaders in the sense of guidance as exampleship. And that's what I mean when I speak of this brother. And this, for me, I think is long overdue. Though I wanted to initially present this brother that I'm about to introduce to you in a more polished package, but time is of the essence. And I don't want to be one of those brothers who said, damn, I wish I would have, if I only could have, if I would have just, and I know the importance of the conversation we're going to have today. So it is my honor, it is my pleasure to introduce to you my brother, my friend, Brother HALIF Muhammad, one of the co-founders of Crow, brother to the late great Munir Muhammad, and to the other co-founder of Crow, Brother Shaheed Muslim. Sir, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. You're so superlative. I thought you was talking about somebody else. Thank you so much, brother.
No, sir. I just want to start before I really get into the questions and let you take over. I just want to say on air, humbly to you, sir, I've always appreciate and admired your I think your dedication. I think that's the proper word I can use. You know, though I had a more of a personal relationship with your brother, I didn't see you and Brother Munir separate. My father taught me at a young age, he says, you judge a man on how he lives his life based on what he says he believes. And I learned from the time being around you, at the very beginning, I believe I can say humbly, that you were sincere in your love and your dedication for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And for me, that is so admirable, because you know better than me, in my short time, I've come to bear witness that a lot of brothers profess to believe one way. They profess to have a strong feeling or sentiment on the things that they say are important to them. But when you look at their life, when you bear witness and measure up what they have done versus what they have said, it never equates. And you, for me, and I'm not just trying to hype you up or just saying it because you, but I just want to be honest and open in this conversation. You, for me, embody a brother that believes. Though you and your brother, I believe, started this journey together, and I'm going to let you tell the story. Your belief was your belief. You know, you didn't believe because he believed. You believed because you believed. And that's a wonderful thing, sir, because of that belief, because of that trust in the messenger of God, you've not only been able to bless yourself, your family, your intermediate family, but those who have been privileged enough to be in your company. So, sir, if you may, just give us an introduction. I know why, but if you can just tell my audience why you're here and why what you have to offer them will be of benefit to their growth and development as they continue to learn and grow. Sir?
I'm here as a bearer of witness to the greatness of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to really tell of how I got introduced to this. It'll take a moment. My brother that you spoke of, Munir, we ran together ever since he was 6 years old. And whatever it is that we did, we always did it together. And that was this brother that made an impact on us around 1970. I know the summer of 1971, he had made such an impression on us that he invited us to the mosque. You know, we were going through the same rhetoric as everyone else. You know, we were sympathizers to the Panther Party, and you know, we had our dashikis and the gear and everything, but there was no substance or discipline to anything that we took hold of. But one Sunday, he decided to unveil this to us. And so he didn't just say, he just said, well, I'm going to take you somewhere that I never took you before. And he took us to the mosque on Stony Island. It was the summer of 71. And this guy had already impacted us. You know, I had just bought a new VW, and it was because really of him. He was kind of frugal, you understand? And we were just trying to, emulate whatever we saw of good. And that day when he took us to the temple, And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't speaking, but I heard one of his ministers, Minister Yusuf Shaw, and we got caught up. We got locked in. You know, the answers to all the questions that we had, it was just like as if a light came on, and it changed our lives. It made us hungry for more of the information about it. Didn't actually see or hear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad until 1972, Savior's Day. But we kept going back and forth to the temple, and you can't forget everything that you hear. It was so new, yet so old. You know, questions that had been on your mind for years that you never even considered or didn't know how to present the question, even if you could think of it. But everybody wanted to know who God was and who the devil was. But right away, you knew who the devil was. They told you right up front, and you figured, oh, that's it. That's simple. And it's just basically history. From there, we came in together. I got my experience. It was a process that you had to go through, and we were set. It was short-lived because, as you know, in 3 years, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed away. And I heard for the first time then from his son-in-law that if Muhammad dies or if he's killed, will you turn back on your heels? We were so grateful for what he had contributed to our lives. I know we could have been in prison somewhere today if it had not been for the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But we tried our best to absorb it. And of course, after his passing, we tried our best to love that which we thought Elijah loved. And we gave an attempt to try to follow his son, but it seemed to be inconsistent with the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to us. And we fell off from it. And, you know, my brother, really, Munir, was responsible for that second call. You know, one night he called me, he says, HALIF, when was the best time in our lives? And that threw us back, right back in the game. It was when we were followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we started really having meetings ourselves, you know, in his basement. We made a couple of attempts. One organization that we started out to try to do, we referred to it as 3 Leader Foundation. You know, that kind of arrogance always is in the back of the Negro's mind. Everybody wants to be the leader, you know, and we went after it for a few months, but it didn't work for us. And he would stay listening to talk radio up real late at night and call in and make himself sick because everybody that was a leader, you know, that people talked about happened to be anybody except the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That angered Munir, and he brought it to me and Shahid and Arif. The 4 of us were determined to do something about this void that had come over the earth so far as the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he beckoned us to, and had to convince us, you know, because, of course, I told him, I said, that's Minister Farrakhan's job. Let him do it. And he convinced me through study of the repetition of when I would hear the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad even from him. So anybody at any time that comes in conflict with placing a veneer or any obstacle in front of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as we recalled it, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us and all of his ministers, you believe that I met with God. Teach the people of me if you want to make progress. We didn't hear it. We didn't see that. That's how and that's why Crow was formed. It wasn't because we were angry at the people for being big shots. That wasn't it at all. We just knew that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the man that had formulated everything that was taking place in our lives and most of these people who was calling his name periodically. So we wanted a place that would exclusively address and defend the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because he was being robbed. First of all, the contributions of the Nation of Islam were all of a sudden attributed to someone else. Malcolm X did it. Minister Farrakhan did it. And I hear people even today telling us who said this as if that's important. What's important is the first begotten of the dead, which was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He taught us all. If you didn't get, and that's why Crow has the model that it does. When you come in there, you see this banner that we got up on the wall there that says, great pains are taken to use only the last messenger's words taken from tapes, writings, whatever else that we may have recorded of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We wanted to follow that. We wanted to put him out there as the one responsible, and we all just witnessed, because the greatest title you can have is to be a helper of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There's no self-aggrandizement in the efforts that we put forth. I think most people who has come to Crow and had the experience of sitting in one or two of our classes has been clear about who we're representing them. That's why it bothers me now when I see people trying to set up a mosque or temple to cause harm against Islam, because it's hard enough to get people to see that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is single-handedly responsible for this than for you to come out with your interpretation and trying to title every and anyone underneath him. We all good as long as we with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but anybody could go south. Some said they would, and they didn't. And then others said they wouldn't, but they did. We were among those. We were nobody, just somebody that was insignificant. I was just a brother who was going to search you when you came in the Nation of Islam. I didn't have any rank or anything. Now, Munir was the secretary in our little satellite temple that we had on the west side. And, of course, you know the story of the relationship between him and Brother Minister Farrakhan when he was brought here by Wallace Muhammad from New York, really to depopularize him, because he had been the guy, had been the spokesperson for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we were expecting him to sit in that seat and represent the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as they did when he was alive. You didn't hear anything other than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches this or he teaches that. There wasn't no assertion of what I'm doing, what we gonna do. It was just about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That was the message. And that's the message that Crow beckons everybody to come back to now. And we're not interested so much in whether or not people follow us or, the membership swells. That it's not that. We don't care if you don't follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We just want you academically to get to know him, to know his proper place. Don't throw him out there in bunches as if he's another one of the civil rights leaders who has a church and a daycare center. This man was the complete package. And you look at the people that was affected by him, and you'll see that because of him, listening to him is what inspired and motivated every one of us. Now, Crow was not really something that came up out of a rebellion. It was meant to help. We sent all of the ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that existed back in 1986 notice. We used to send out this newsletter. That was my function as one of the co-founders of Crow. I had developed that niche that I had an outreach all over the country because I believed that there were pockets of communities all over the country that were sympathetic to what we were espousing. Many people had missed hearing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We thought, and we expected, and we continue to expect somebody to always be here to grab the torch for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to make sure that his name and his accomplishments, his ideas are remembered. We'll revere him. You don't have to worry about that. You just acknowledge his proper place, and we'll be satisfied with that. I hope I didn't go.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah.
No, once again, we're talking to brother.
Just came to as it came to me. I was just trying to tell you how we got to this point.
No, absolutely. No, it was perfectly said, sir. Once again, we're talking to brother HALIF Muhammad, one of the illustrious co-founders of the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And please, my listening audience, the reason why, like I said at the opening, we are so blessed to have a brother like this be able to conversate with us, to give his story, to tell the greatness of his birth again and then again, because it's so much in his life, in his history that he has lived, and he's going to continue to give examples that we can draw from. Not just inspiration, but tangible examples that I think would be of benefit. Because, brother, you spoke of two things that really stood out to me. And before I ask the next question, I just want to state this, because you said that you, in 1972, when you came into the teachings, it was something like you never heard before. It just grabbed your attention. It just grabbed your heart, grabbed your mind. It just made all the sense in the world to be able to identify God, to be able to identify the devil, and to be able to identify self, things that we didn't just take for granted, but we realized we had no knowledge of at all beforehand. And for you to, and I'm humbly saying this from your own admission, said that you had kind of deviated or lost your way after the passing of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but to still see, and like he said, you put so much in you that when the time would come again that it made sense again. You didn't get stuck in the gutter, so to speak. You know what I mean? You didn't get stuck in complacency, it being in the world. You said, no, this ain't for me. Like you said, your brother called you and stated, when was the best time of our life? And the only answer that could be given was when we were the Nation of Islam under the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's exactly right.
And that's a beautiful thing. And it shows that, like you said, you were just a soldier, so to speak. But because the messenger trained his students, his followers, to be great in the sense that they have all the knowledge they need to be the strong men of this world, to be the examples, to be ministers, even though they weren't ministers. You said, hey, if nobody else is going to do it, we going to do it. Like you said, it wasn't, Crow wasn't started to be an adversarial force. It wasn't started to be smacking somebody's face, hey, look what I'm doing, I want to be. No, it was just truly, I know we use this term real loosely, a labor of love. So,
yeah,
if I may ask,
it was that. It was that, but you know, at the same time, my little brother had such a passion for this that it could have been construed by some and by many that we were adversarial because we would not accept any excuses for trying to put yourself in the place of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We didn't hear that title, that he told us that he was messenger of Allah to us all. And they started first, dangling with that, made him a master teacher and anything other than being the divine messenger of God, a man who told us that he met with God and personally was taught by him for 3.5 years. And we can't doubt it. We only can conclude that if it wasn't God, it had to be somebody greater than what we see now, because nobody has been able to duplicate it. We ain't no social media. People heard by word of mouth about this man and the example that he placed in the earth with so far as people. I know my brother and I was some of the worst people that you could have had in the community, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad changed all of that. And this rebirth, because I always knew this since 1971, I knew this statue of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But, that Savior's Day in 1972, I was too late. I was hooked then because I was already processing. I got my ex. But I had never seen, nor have I seen since, anybody get the kind of respect that I saw. People on their feet, long live Muhammad. Just the sight of him, that lecture really solidified it. And these are the kind of things that after his son took over and drove me completely out of our home, he went to using profanity in the mosque, something that we didn't do at the bus stop or in family reunion. We didn't do that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad changed our language and other things to degrade the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He would criticize it right at the podium that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built. Now, you can chase it, speaking of adversarial, because I don't think you ever found, or he ever found, another podium like that one during his lifetime. But that was given to him. He wasn't even in the nation when it got him. You understand? That's how, I come to know Shaheed Muslim, who was our brother and one of the co-founders with us when Shaheed was an officer. He was the first officer, and he was one of those that we all as men, I know I did, we all looked up to him. His mannerism and his humility, you could tell, comes straight from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Anytime a man could walk around, that's why, I got such admiration for Minister Farrakhan, because that man conducts himself as if he's representing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, the charge of not mentioning the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as much as he should have been or doing, especially early on, you can kind of give him a break now because you think he is the personification. But I think that was all about mainstreaming, trying to be crossover, and we came out wrong. And never did I think and I used to tell Munir this, I never thought that we'd be able to make the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as mainstream as he is today. We don't have a television show that comes on or go off without at least a photograph of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, no matter what the subject is. It could be medicine, politics, you name it. But you're going to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because we're not ashamed of him, and we see him as a giant among men. And he's singularly the most important figure in our whole history in the United States. Nobody gave us the kind of respect that he gave us. You know, I can go anywhere in the world or the country, and when they see that I'm a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'm going to be made distinguished, you know, because of him. And that's what we were trying to get back when he said, what's the best time? So we formed this little group. There was 9 of us, you know, we got in there. But just 3 of us really had been soldiers in the Nation of Islam. Brother Arif was on the cusp of coming into the Nation of Islam at the time of his passing. But he saw academically that this wasn't fair, you know, so he was one of the original founders with us to start something that would perpetuate the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's message, and we set this place up, as far as I was concerned, as defense, you know. But Munir, as I told you, the spark plug of our organization, he wanted to take the show on the road. We went on the offense. We circled and crisscrossed this country looking for anybody, anyone that was sympathetic to this. They was either equal or less with us if they were not acquainted with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But we went to college campuses. We went to various cities where he had prominent ministers, really so-called ministers. I apologize for saying that, but I was caught up in the moment because, you know, this era of fake news, you get these fake personalities. You know, you
yes, sir.
Want the glory. You want the glory that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brings, but you don't want to come out in the sunshine, as we have done and has been doing now for 34 years. This is not something that we do as a hobby, and we do it on 2 occasions now, day and night. You don't ever find a day that a crow is not open where we can have people come in to learn more about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I hope it's okay for them to know that they can help us, brother. I hope you'll mention that to them at the end.
Absolutely, most certainly will. And you said
Thank
something.
you.
You said something so important, sir. If I may, you talked about how you, your brother Shaheed, and those dedicated members of Crow traveled this whole country spreading this message in defense of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I know it took a level of relentlessness, to say the least, you know, of total commitment. When you're in the moment, how did that feel? Like, did you ever have a moment where it was like, man, did we bite off more than we could chew? Or will our people ever wake up? You know, would it resonate? Was it ever at any point that it was, I don't know.
In truth, it was initially because I had expected the message to be received much like we received it. We ran to it, you know, and I understand now that the numbers, you know, if you're concerned about numbers, and that's what I used to tell Munir that was so amazing, is that it was just this few of us. Like I'm telling you about, he can be on TV now. You go back late 70s, it's hot. He just passed, and it ain't even 1980 yet. You don't see anything. When they do Black History Month, they don't mention the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or show anything about that. They show you marching and you done heard so much about it, you're an expert at it now. Our people as a whole, that's what we do. We march no matter what the crisis is, whether it's a police shooting or just a blatant attack on one of our women like they're doing now. And you got your social media to keep you apprised of all of the kind of ridiculous things that they do to us up until this minute. And we don't have the self-respect to at least get out of their way. That we wasn't saying let's go to war with these. We said let's get out of their way. Let's separate, just like we do normally every Sunday. You go to your church and they go to theirs, and y'all profess to believe the same thing, but you can't have a decent conversation or a civil conversation during the week. At week, you go sit at your your table, and then everybody else go sit at that table. That's the way it is. But I just think that we should just separate and respect ourselves and try to make a place for ourselves.
So to land back off that question then, so was it a defining moment through this time period, late 80s, early 90s, after Crow was started, that you said, okay, this will work. We got something special here. You know, like, was it a moment, like a defining moment, or was it a time or a circumstance or a situation where it just all came together for you?
It came together over time, sort of like the water cycle. And now you can't really, the transition was so smooth that you can't even look back and date it. My brother, as aggressive as he was, I don't think you can really get the depth of how he was able to have such diversity on this show. I don't think that you really truly get the impact of how many offices and officers that he penetrated to get the kind of accommodations that we got in this town, in the country. You know, I was always somewhere where somebody was telling me, you know, thank me for my work, you know, because we look alike. Some of them can't discern between the two of us. And I would say, well, that's my brother. This is the show that comes on. You can watch it here, or you can watch it there, or you could visit our place. We have a place set aside for this. But I guarantee you that what Munir Muhammad did, as far as penetrating areas that I didn't think that we could get into, but not only got into, but received with respect. No, I don't think there was any place that I felt uncomfortable that we went, you know, on this mission, you know, and I'm sure that, you know, the best is still to come because we're in here now. And it's not so much of you don't startle people when you bring up General Elijah Muhammad now. They don't know. They ask you the same old, sister asked me the other day, do I believe in the Ten Commandments? Do I believe in Jesus? You know, all of the people, the only difference is these people, we live like that. We don't do this on Sunday. That's the difference. We get to know them better. We study the scripture. We follow the scripture. And we treat our own kind as if we love them like they are our own kind. But yeah, I'm really amazed at if you knew how far we've come. You know, when you go through these eras and these generations where, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad never went into a school. And now I seen on CNN the other day, they were celebrating 1619, which is 64 years after we were enslaved. They won't even tell you the truth about that. But our reaction is to celebrate, to march. Bring out the band. Instead of like what other people have done, they want some kind of repayment. What about an acknowledgement? Of it. Just say, well, I know we get. Don't give us that. Just apologize. I'm kidding about that now. Hold it.
Yes, sir.
Don't go too far. But
yes,
the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, wanted us to get up and do something for ourselves. And I just want to have people. We used to have this saying that small minds talked about people. Average minds would talk about events. But great minds, they talk about ideas. But the real idea of us doing, or just considering us, not doing for self, but just consider us for a change. That's something that would be a phenomenon that we could start right there. But the best way for us to make progress is to take a look at the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Ain't no penalty. You don't have to be afraid. They're not bothering me any more so than they're bothering those who are satisfied, comfortable. But we're going to do this until we die because we owe it to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, how is it that we can have a man like this and our children don't even know his name? And they know his students. All the students, they throw their names out there, and most of all, Malcolm X.
Yes, sir.
How could we have a Negro named X? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the only man that was giving out X's. And he renegade, hypocrited against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he gets more credibility in the community than the man who caused the change that we saw not only in him, but thousands of people that we knew personally, not just the people that we read about or see on TV, but we knew personally somebody that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad affected. And you saw a 90-degree change, 360-degree change in that person. It's amazing.
Yes,
and it still works to this day.
All praise be to Allah. And once again, we're talking to Brother HALIF Muhammad, one of the co-founders for the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as he stated, it's a process. It's a culmination of things. It wasn't one particular moment at one particular time, because as he looks back, he realized it all was important to get to this point. And as he stated, that's why it's so important that you have brothers and sisters who believe as you, who can support you, who can be on this journey with you. Brother Munir Muhammad was great in his role as the business manager, as the voice, as the face of Crow. But that didn't stop Brother HALIF from taking care of his responsibilities. As you said, you wrote newsletters and sent them all over the country.
Right.
You see,
Right. We were a coalition.
Teach.
We were a coalition. We had different functions, but we was pursuing a single mission. How do I know? We wrote it. We wrote the mission statement ourselves.
Teach.
And to my ability, I don't think we have deviated one iota, because, as I said, today I'm tasked with trying to have a reaction to someone building a mosque against it. I told you, we started this because we didn't want anybody robbing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not even ourselves, not even Munir. Munir was a helper of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's it. That's all any of us can be. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the messenger. That's who we adhering to. And I'm sure that I told you we ran together since we were 6 years old.
Yes, sir.
And we built this organization together. You understand? And this is our doctrine. This ain't something that I'm saying after his passing. This is something that he fought more vigorously against than I.
Yes, sir.
He was the spark plug, the go-getter for us. I was a guy who wanted to defend our position at 2435 West 71st Street. He wanted to go find them, find the opposition. It was his aggression that carried us to this point.
Yes, sir. Sir,
We're very proud of it.
yes, we are.
Yes, sir.
And I thank you again. And you've given us, sir, and I say so humbly, and I'm just excited. I have to put the microphone on mute because I don't want to keep saying teach, and distract, interrupt you, brother. But
Yeah.
I'm just so excited, and this is
I'm sorry if I got a little
no, sir.
carried away there. I wanted you just wait for your questions, but
No, sir.
just felt fired up.
And I want you to do that. This is your story, sir. I'm just a platform that allows this message to get out, the most important message, the message of the messenger of God, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as you stated, you've done this for 30 plus years, talking about the institution of Crow. And as we go into as we're in 2019 and go into 2020, what do you, Brother Shaheed, the institution as Crow as a whole, and it's only one Crow, let me make that clear, everyone, it's only one Crow, unless Shaheed Muslim or Halif Muhammad authorize another one, there is no other Crow, it's just one. And from their own mouths, that's the only one that's going to be in the foreseeable future.
Right, we can't
teach.
Listen, it would be very desirable to have more of these facilities around the country. But we can't trust anyone to keep this sanctity. I just told you, we got people now who want to build something in his name. The main one of us that would have objected to placing any kind of obstacle in front of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're trying to canonize him, as they has done with Malcolm X, as if, once you leave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you're no longer any good. You can't be true. And you got to have the knowledge. You got to have the product knowledge. So we would not want anyone attempting to represent Crow unless they know what the mission is. I was part of those who wrote it, me and Arif for the most part. And Arif is still here someplace. He can attest to it if you talk to him. He ain't going to tell you that this was not the correct thing to do, because everybody knows the correct thing to do, because you see now how valuable it is. You thought we was, and I thought Munir was exaggerating a little bit about they write down Elijah Muhammad out of history. You don't even hear about it, And you could have people walk out in the sunshine right now telling you that they in the Nation of Islam and don't know its founder. You can't get your GED in the United States if you don't know who George Washington is.
Yes,
How is it that you can come up and think you have met a few of the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or heard them speak, who are witnesses of his greatness, and omit him? You can't do it. And we can't go and, as much as we might love anybody who dedicates his life to this kind of work, we can't make them nothing but helpers.
Yes, sir.
Of the great, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. His messenger to us all.
Praise be to Allah.
So I really appreciate the opportunity.
I appreciate you, sir.
I've never been on your show, but I'm going to put this among my highest achievement.
No, sir. No, sir. It is truly an honor and a pleasure, and I truly thank you for taking the time out in this late evening to have this conversation with me, to give me stuff that I didn't know. You know, it's not just for my audience, it's for me personally first. I need this information. I appreciate this information. So it's been a delight for me, sir. And as we close out, I thank you again for, like I said, for coming on and bearing witness to the greatness of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's just, I know you talked about Brother Munir and how he was relentless in his pursuit of always keeping the messenger out front. I remember he scolded me a couple times because he felt I was saying his name a little bit too much. And he said, brother, I know you love me. I know you appreciate what I've done, but I don't belong on the same page, the same book as the messenger of God. I don't even get you confused with that. So if you don't even say my name, you know, don't say, I know you love your father, but when you talk about the messenger, you talk about the messenger solely. And it is what helped this program, sir, is morphing into what I believe can be a great testament to that reality. So once again, sir, I thank you. You can find, I want you to close out with a couple words, but I just want to say where they can find you. 2435 West 71st Street at Crow, the headquarters for the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where every Sunday at 12:30 to 2 o'clock you can come and bear witness to the greatness of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad by hearing some of his followers give their life testimonies that shows how he has transformed them and continue to make them great. And also, my brother, your nephew, who took the seat of his father, Brother Jamil Muhammad, who was holding up Muhammad and Friends and the Munir Muhammad Show, who's doing a magnificent job, sir, if I must say myself. And I just love everything he's doing with the show. I mean, he's been doing it forever. I know, even though we may not, like the audience may not be familiar with how consistent and how long he's been doing it as a replacement for his father if he was out of the city or doing other things, or just had him on as a guest host, even when he was in the city, because he does such a phenomenal job. And I want everyone to know, you know, please, you can watch the show every Wednesday at 6:30 at Crow on YouTube, Facebook, Crow TV. You can use streams. It can be watched several ways. Those are some of the three major ways they can be watching every Sunday at 2:30 to 3:30. So please tune in. And we're also on channel 25 if you're in the Chicagoland area, and channel 19, CLTV and CAN TV, where we show daily at different parts of the country. I'm not familiar with that schedule. I'm about to get with Sister Kim to get that schedule so I can promote that as well, so we can know if you're in the Baltimore area or down in the South. We have showings there as well.
Minneapolis, New York.
Yes, sir. Oh, praise be to God. So any closing remarks?
We try to make that part of our ministry. But you said something a little while ago that reminded me of Munir, and for that reason, can I take a moment and read this verse from the Quran? This is one of his favorites.
It's our show.
This directly, fits what you're saying about setting up another. This is the 58th or 22nd verse. There will not find a people who believe in Allah in the latter day, loving those who oppose Allah and His messenger, even though they be their fathers or their sons or their brothers or their kinfolk. These are they into whose hearts He has impressed faith and strengthened with a spirit from Himself, and He will cause them to enter gardens wherein flow rivers, abiding therein. Allah is well pleased with them, and they are well pleased with Him. These are Allah's party. We see ourselves like that. We protect the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I don't care if you're praising me. Great pains, as I mentioned, is the banner that's inside Crow. are taken. They use only the last messenger's words that are taken from his tapes and books. You know, I would love to tell you how smart I am, but this is about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We don't have a conflict. We don't befriend people. I know they think they mean well, but you can get an actor or somebody if you want to have a fan club or a hero worshiper, but don't try to get those of us who are doing the work in trouble like that. We know and we understand from jump, as Munir told you, we're helpers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Don't try to get in his way. That's the motivation for us starting Crow. We don't care who it is or who you think they are. They second. They're not first begotten from the dead. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is. I just wanted to say that because some people, you know, they do these kind of blasphemous things and they want to quote a scripture, you know, that don't fit what they're talking about, but just for the sake of confusion. But that's something that we adopted years ago. We want to be like that. That's why Crow is successful. It's because we won't quit. We don't give. We don't stop bringing up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because you're tired of it. That's why we got our own TV show. We used to come on BON and talk about the Honorable Elijah. They got sick of us. They wanted to talk about trivial stuff. So we had to get our own.
Yes, sir.
And now we can bring you on, and we bold enough to let you talk about whatever you want.
Teach.
On our show.
Teach.
So that's justice, that's fairness, that's love,
Yeah.
brothers and sisters. Well, thank you so much, brother, for talking with me. I enjoyed our time together today. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
You most certainly will. I look forward to seeing you as well, sir. Once again, please, brother and sister, come out and just see for yourself. You don't have to take our word. Come see for yourself how great the message of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is. Just come, look at the walls, look at the history, get some of his books. 2 books that Crow produced, Birth of a Savior and The True History of Jesus.
That's right.
These are things that we're not, like Brother Halif said through his beautiful story today, not something that he's guessing about or something told him. This is something he experienced for himself, something he knows firsthand. So please, brother and sister, please come. Please stop all the lies, the deception that has been placed on the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Come see for yourself. You think, like he said, he's a brother that knew how to handle himself in the world. He's not just saying it because he didn't have nothing else. He was destitute and out of doors. It just makes sense.
Right.
So I thank you again, sir, for having this conversation with me.
May Allah bless you.
And continue to bless you as well. I thank you again, everyone, for listening in on this installment of Know Thyself Radio. And like I said, we were in for a treat, and by the grace of Allah, we'll have Brother Halif on again in the future. And we definitely have to have Brother Shaheed Muslim on to continue to tell the stories of Crow and the co-founders. I thank you for listening as I leave you in the words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you again for listening to another installment of Know Thyself Radio Show. And I just want to extend a special thank you to someone who I appreciate so dearly, Brother Halif Muhammad, for coming on the show today and bearing witness to the greatness of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the God that he represents, Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And this show was very special to me, though I did not get the privilege and opportunity to interview our late great brother Munir Muhammad. I know that his spirit is pleased at the representation of his blood brother, his spiritual brother, his companion in this great work Brother HALIF, and Brother Shaheed, Muslim. But thank you again, Brother HALIF. You did a magnificent job, sir, and I appreciate the long suffering that you had to go through for this moment, for the time and dedication that you put into this reality so that we could have an institution like Crow to bear witness to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and also to have an institution that we could be safe without all of the lies and deception that has been placed on the greatest man to walk this earth that we know in this day and time. So I thank you again, sir, and I look forward to having you on again. And I thank my listening audience, because you could have been any other place in the planet, but you decided to be here. And I leave you in the words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.